what are digital fiat currency. So as we call central bank digital currency, more commonly known as digital fiat currency, is basically defined as a representation in the digital form of a fiat currency of a particular nation or region, and it is issued and regulated by the competent monetary authority of a country. So in a nutshell, if it is a fiat currency, then it is backed by a country, by a central bank of a country, and it is basically meant for controlling the monetary and monetary policy of the country. So that's the definition of a fiat currency, which is usually helping run a country in the best possible manner, with the likes of being regulated and controlled by the government and the central bank of that country. So, so startups are, so as we say, startups are looking to adapt the blockchain technology to create new efficiencies in the overall banking system. So ranging from a retail account to the very creation of money. So there are multiple startups which have been working in this direction to create the digital equivalent of fiat currencies so that it can be used and can be circulated in various kind of industry environment. So it can be used in banking system, it can be used for the retail account creations as well. So, and again, the reason is why own a digital currency. What can be the benefits of it? There can be few benefits. First and foremost is uh, the chances of transactions being done easily and faster are more when we try to use the digital currency, and it can be accepted as a central norm across when you use any kind of digital currency. So there are various reasons, there are various pros and cons and reasons why a digital currency can be a good way forward. Because if we depend on a central currency, currently it is US dollar, which is acting as a world currency, wherein all the countries recognize US dollar as a central currency and a way of doing any kind of trade. So if you have the digital currency, then it become more independent, uh, uh, or specific or more independent of the country, and it become more prone to the digital part of it, which is how the digital currencies are getting due traction. So now let's try to see a pig is not a piggy bank. So so let's consider that the kind of overall penetration rate of smartphones has hit an average of 82% in developing nations. So if you see uh, all the developing nations, or most of the countries, they have been using smartphone to the access range of more than 82%. So there is a high probability, there's a high rate that these smartphones can be used for exchange of currencies with the likes of digital currencies. So you can use and you can enable the fund transfers through these smartphones. So as we say in the quote, in developed and in developing country alike, the poorest half of the population often control less than 10% of the overall wealth. So people who are having smartphones, they are well-to-do, and they are able to carry out the transaction at a faster rate with the help of those apps in the smartphone. So if you see, the overall studies in the developed country, any mobile phone, people have almost 91% of people have mobile phone, and the smartphone comprises in the range of uh, 80%. And in the case of developing country, any mobile is close to 90%, and people having smartphone is almost 82%. So that means that all the people who possess the phone, they usually want to go with the smartphone ownership. So now let's try to explore it further. So as we say, a pig is not a piggy bank. So let's try to consider in 2017, there was 69% of adults around the world have an account. So, so it means that if you are almost 18 or more than 18, you should be having your own bank account, and you should be doing the transactions using your bank account. So what it means is globally almost 1.7 billion adults lack an account. So there are still fairly large set of people or individuals who have the accounts, but then there are few remaining set of people which is as large as 1.7 billion adults. So there is no formal bank accounts for them, so they are not a part of central economies of the world in terms of receiving or doing the transactions to the account, although they obviously will be carrying out those transactions, but then they are not formally contributing to the formal circulation of the money through the likes of central bank. So now let's try to see the disruptors. So there are multiple disruptors in banking and the currency sector. So these are the few examples of those disruptors. So blockstream, as we call it, right? So that is one of the disruptor in the environment. E-currency is again one of the disruptor, so which is disrupting the overall banking and the fiat currency environment. RCN is trying to change the way in which the transactions and work happen in the financial world. So there are multiple disruptors in the banking and currency environment as well. So now let's try to see the kind of disruptors in intellectual property rights. So there are four types of intellectual property, as we call it. So there are trade secrets, there are trademarks, and then the third one is the copyrights, and then fourth one is the patents. So these are the four types of disruptors in intellectual property rights. And organization, individual possesses, or they try to have those intellectual property right created with either of these forms. And in either of these forms, you can think of using auction as one of the form of storing the records, which ensures the greater safety and security of the data for the intellectual property rights. So Imogen heap and the blockchain revolution, as we call it. So these are the few institutes or organization, Voltitude, Loki, or IPV. So these are the few institutes, organizations which have been doing disruption in the intellectual property right or intellectual property world, the likes of the blockchain revolution, which is around the system. So as we call it out in this chapter, we have explored some use cases that are in pipeline among the other micropayment systems, and how the IPs can be used and protected with the likes of blockchain technology for carrying out those things in a better way.